back to my channel, and as you can tell from the title, I'm gonna tell you a story time about a Ouija board experience that I had. And guys, this experience is so scary. I promise before I even tell this story, I am telling the truth. Everything that I'm about to tell you guys is exactly what happened and as it happened. So if you're interested in knowing what happened with my Ouija board experience, stay tuned. So to start, I was 15 years old and my boyfriend at the time was 16 when this occurred. So we both were very, very young when we had our Ouija board experience. Well, you know, we were regular teenagers. We would go to football games and hang out at the mall and, you know, do all the stuff that teenagers do. So this particular day, he came to pick me up and we were supposed to go somewhere, and he left his jacket at home and it was really, really cold outside. So he was like, well, let me run by my house and grab my jacket and then we can go. Again, I don't remember where we were going, but it was really cold, so I was like, okay, cool, let's grab your jacket. So we get to his house and he was like, oh yeah, did I tell you we had a Ouija board? And I was like, what? Now, I had always heard that Ouija boards are very scary, that they bring evil spirits out and you can talk to the dead and all this other stuff. And my mom and, you know, friends had always said, never mess with the Ouija board. So he had heard the same thing and he was like, we got one upstairs. Well, me being curious, I was like, I want to see it. So I'm sitting downstairs in his living room. So he goes upstairs and gets the Ouija board and he brings it downstairs to where I was sitting. Now, the way that their living room was set up, he opened up the Ouija board and laid it out on the table. And when he laid it on the table, I was sitting on the couch and the table like was in front of me and he sat on the opposite side. And so he was like, are you scared? Are you scared? I was like, nah, I ain't scared. Are you scared? And he was like, nah, I'm not scared. And I was like, well, so why you bring this Ouija board out? He was like, I just wanted to show it to you. So I asked him, had he ever played with it? And he was like, hell no, I ain't never played with this thing. I heard that it's supposed to bring out bad spirits. And you know, we're just sitting there looking crazy, looking at the board. And at the time, neither one of us was scared. We're just like, okay, whatever. So we should have went ahead and left then, you guys. Like, we should have left, should have never looked at the Ouija board. We should have just left and did what we were supposed to do and not ever play with this board, because what happened next is super scary. So he was like, you want to play with it? I was like, well, shoot, you already pulled it out. We may as well ask it some questions just to see what happens. So he lays the board out, or the little, what is it, the little cursor. And if you guys don't know, the cursor is like this little triangle shaped thing, and you put your hand on it and it moves across the board like so. Like you put your fingers on it and you slide it across the board. So you ask the Ouija board a question, you put your hands on the cursor and it like slides across the board and it's supposed to tell you information. So we started asking it little stupid questions. Like I don't remember all the questions we asked, but there was one that I do remember. When we were kids, and I mean like in elementary school, there was a gentleman that was raping kids in the area near my elementary school. So we asked him who was the guy raping the children, and it spelled out some crazy name, and we were like, oh, okay, whatever. So then my boyfriend started asking crazy questions. I asked questions and it would spell out some stuff, you know. I didn't know if it was true or not true. We were just like, okay, whatever. Guys, I kid you not, I promise, I'm telling the truth. We asked another question. My boyfriend and I both had our hands on the cursor. We asked the question, I don't remember what it was, and all of a sudden the room the lights started flickering. I promise, the lights started going. It was like orange and blue, and we had no lights on at all. There was no lights on in the house because it was still daylight outside. Daylight was outside, so we had no reason to even have the lights on in the house. We're in his living room. The blinds were open, so we had more than enough light. But during this time, the lights were flickering orange and blue. I look across at my boyfriend. I saw horns out of his head, and he had these big, huge teeth. Oh my God, you guys, he looked like an image of the devil that you've seen before, or oh my God, it was so scary. I was like, oh my God, like, and then he started shaking, like the room started shaking, like his leg couldn't stop shaking, like his whole body was just shaking. And again, he had horns in his head, like horns coming out of his head like this. He had these big old teeth, and his body could not stop shaking. And my hand was on the cursor, his hand was on the cursor, and I'm looking, oh my God. You guys, I thought I was gonna pass out because I was so scared. I'm like, oh my God. I was so freaking scared. I was like, oh my God. You know how you want to scream for mom and dad? You want to scream, but you can't? That's how I was. My body was like paralyzed where I couldn't scream because I was so scared, and I was like, oh my God, why did we do this? And after this happened for about 5 minutes, after 5 minutes, we both took our hands off the cursor, and I was like, oh my God, you looked so scary. I told him exactly what he looked like, and I said, wow, you look like the devil. I said, you had horns coming out your head, and you had these big teeth, and your whole body was shaking, and the lights were flickering. And he said the same thing to me, guys. I promise you. He told me that I had, from his side of things, he could look at me. He said that I had horns coming out of my head, that I had big teeth. And what really got me, guys, when I told him that the lights were flickering, I never told him that I saw that the lights were flickering orange and blue. I never said it. But when he told me that I had horns coming out my head and I had the big teeth, and he didn't say I was shaking, but he did say the lights were flickering. I asked him, I said, wow, what color were the lights when they were flickering? You guys, he said orange and blue. Holy crap. I was like, oh, hell no, to the no. I gotta go, we gotta go. Now mind you, when we went to his house, the sole purpose of stopping by his house was to get his coat because it was cold outside. Y'all, we were both so scared. He like threw the Ouija board in the box. His coat was upstairs. He didn't even want to go upstairs because we both were so scared. We just ran out the house and jumped in the car and left. Like, I don't even remember where we went. It was so scary. I remember just being so shaken, and I shook a lot because I was so scared at what happened. And the moral of the story, guys, is do not play with a Ouija board. I don't give a damn what anybody tells you about these Ouija boards. I played with it one time. That was my first time, and that was my last time. If I ever date a man or be around anyone that has a Ouija board, guess what? I'm out. I don't want no parts of it because, oh my God, that was like one of the scariest moments of my life. And guys, I am not playing, I promise you. That was so scary to me. I told my mom about it. I never told my dad, but I told my mom about it, and she believed me immediately. She was like, I told you not to mess with Ouija boards, you know, you could have let a bad spirit out, so forth and so on. She was like, I believe you. And she knew I was telling the truth because I was still shaking, guys. I was still shaking and just so upset over the whole situation. And after that, yeah, I was done. If you know of anybody that wants to play Ouija board, I suggest do not do it because I've heard other weird stories, which I won't get into, from different people about Ouija boards. And what happened to me when I was 16, I believe it. It scared the living daylights out of me. You guys, like, oh my gosh, that's really everything that happened. I hope you enjoyed this story time, and if you have any stories that you would like to share regarding a Ouija board, please leave them in the comment section. I'm interested in hearing about them. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a great big thumbs up, and I will see you in my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.